Hello guys, today I'm back again and we want to use this medium. I want to talk a little about what tips you should have to use in your farm in order to have a high productivity. Some tips you got to use in your piggery farm in order to have productivities. Yes, there is a way you will rear your pigs, what you will do that will give you a low output of results, and there are what you will do that will increase your resulting output. I'm going to focus on what you need to do daily on your farm. That is, if you want your output to be high. Yes, if you want what will come out of your farm to improve, there are some tips and what you got to do in a daily basis in your farm. Yes, pigs, as I've been saying, is a very strong farm animal, and now rearing pigs means money. Yes, they bring them income, they support the farmers, and then they have something on their pocket. Today, I want to tell you what you got to be doing in your farm on a daily basis. You must have to do this thing on a daily basis to improve or to encourage high productivity in your farm. Previously, I talked about types of piggery from the piggery family, types of breed that you should start with. But today I want to tell you a few things that you got to do in order to have a good result. When we talk of pigs, as I said, they are strong farm animals, but there are some mistakes that few people make, and that landed them in having very low output, as their income is not high. Well, now let's assume that you have started your farm and your farm is on progress. These are the few things that you got to do daily in your farm. They are very minor things, but is highly needed in your farm in a daily basis. Alright, when you wake up in the morning, after moving around, maybe doing some little thing, the first thing that will come to your mind is your farm. You want to go there and see what is happening after a long night. Yes, walking to your farm that early morning, you want to see, look around, what is happening, what was there when I was asleep, and how was my animal faring. I want to tell you that some people make these high mistakes. When they wake up, they think about themselves first, forget about everything that has to relate to the farm. They will not go to the farm. Maybe after they come back from their daily walk, or maybe after they might have do this or do this by around after 10 or 4 hours or 5 hours or 6 hours of waking up from bed. They will now say, oh, I need to go and give my animal feed. By that time might have been 10 hours later, after the animal might have woke up, or after you might have woke up, 10 hours might have passed, or 8 hours or 7 hours. They now think of going to the farm and look at what is happening there. That is wrong. You will not have a high productivity. As I said earlier, when you are determined, when you are focused, you want to do it, you want to improve, that is a good way of going smoothly, because you are encouraged by yourself. When you wake up in the morning, after a few running around, what you got to do is go straight to your farm. When you went into your farm, You have to look around the farm, see what is happening to the animals. After that, you need to clean the trough. And what I mean by the trough is those places that you put food for the animal. Those places that you put food for the animal, that is what I mean by the trough. You put food and put water. Yes. When you wake up, you go straight to the farm, look around, clean the trough. Yes. In some larger farm animals, food do not usually finish in the trough. The food will remain there 24 hours. Depending on the type of farm you are running or you are operating, the food will remain there 24 hours so that anytime that the pig want to eat, they will just get there and have their food. But in some rare situations where you do not have standard pig steer, or you do not have enough money to be buying food to be 24 hours in the trough or somehow, that means the food will finish, or before the animal will go to sleep might have exhausted all the food on the trough. In this way, if you are running that kind of a farm where food usually finish in the straw, when you wake up in the morning knowing that the animal going to sleep and stay for like 8 to 10 hours resting, and all the food that they eat might have gone in their tummy. When you get there, what you have to do first is to clean the trough. After cleaning the trough, if those animals were not on medicine or those that you were concentrating on medication, what you do next is put food. Save them with their morning food. Save them with food. I mean early in the morning, not after 10 hours or so, or 10 o'clock or 8. Just when you wake up that morning time, you save your meal. Yes. Before you do that, you got to clean the trough. Very, very important. You got to clean the trough. What I mean by cleaning the trough means remove all the old particles of food or the droplets and some other things that were around that place. You clean it up using broom and packer, as I said earlier. Make that place to be clean. Afterward, you may also clean the entire pig sty, that's the pig pen. You may also decide to use that opportunity to clean the entire pig pen. Sweep it, pack the slurry, that's what I mean by the slurry. There is both the feces, the urine, and all dirty that are attached to the pig in the house. That is what I mean by slurry. You pack everything and push it to the lagoon. What I mean by the lagoon, we will talk about that later, is a place that you dig. It must be an open pit, where you will dump all the pig slurry. Yes, when you pack this pig slurry, you dump it in that open pit that we call lagoon. You will need that. We talk about that later. You will need that in your farm so that the waste may not disturb others in terms of the odor or so. So you use that opportunity that you go to the farm in the morning, clean the trough and also clean the entire pig pen. After cleaning the entire pig pen and the straw, you serve them with food. As you do this in the morning. When you serve them with food, as they are eating, you will now take a look at your pig. Which one is eating, which one is not eating, how he is feeling, is he rushing to take the food, or are all of them able to get the feed that you have put for them? How are they feeling? You don't just give the food and just leave the farm. No. When you serve them with the food, you have to look around, take a look at how they are eating. Which one are eating well, which one are not eating well, perhaps which one are not eating, and what is the problem? Some of them may not eat because they have been bullied by the brother or a fellow sibling, or some of them are not eating because they have one problem, either they are sick or there is a mating period, because sometimes due to the time that when they are hit, they may not like to eat and whatsoever. You will use this opportunity to check what is the problem. Yes, it's very, very important that after serving them with food in the morning, you look around. At that same time, You will look at those who were on medication, whether they are improving, they are responding to the treatment that you are giving to them, or whether you should increase the medication or stop the medication, this or that. That is the purpose of looking around, especially those times that you just serve them with food, the time that they are eating. That is very important. More so, as you have served them with the food, observing them, knowing what is the problem in the farm, you will now use this opportunity. Those ones that you wanted to separate or to move or whatsoever, you still use that time to do that same thing. After that one, you may now go back, go to your other business. As if you were doing other things, you can go to your other business, leave them for some time. Then later in the day, when the sun is up, that's later in the day, you have to come back. When the sun is hot, especially in the hot sunny day, you have to come back. Now, as you are coming back for a different purpose, what is it? When you come back this time, if you are piggery with a standard one, where you have everything, like the water supply, constant water supply, constant food, everything is ready, well, you may not need to come back at this time, or only to come and look at them how they are faring. But if you do not have a standard piggery, that's what I mean by piggery, that pig pen, that's the house, their shelter, their house. If you do not have a standard one, you come back this time during the sunny day or the sunny hour of the day, look at the farm. Some of them will be sleeping because of the heat, some of them will just rest, and some of them will just be playing and whatsoever. This is the time that you use water to pour on the pig. You will now go and fetch water, or if you have a hose, you draw water from the hose and pour on the pig body one after the other. That is, if your house is not a standard piggery, you need to do this, especially in the sunny day. What is the purpose of this one? Well, number one purpose of this one is that it will make your pig itself to be clean. When you pour them the water, especially the water that you just draw from the hose, that number one will make the pig to look clean, not too much dirty. Two, it will help the pig, it will reduce the heat in the body of the pig. It will help their temperature to be more better, more regulated. At least their temperature will be more calm at this time. In fact, during the time that you pour them the water, you will see that they will just sleep flat. You don't only pour them very small amount of water, but you pour them plenty amount of water. This may require time and plenty of water. Each of them, you have to pour them plenty amounts of water so as to ensure that their body is clean, and also that they have a good temperature at the moment. Yes, but this you will only do to those pigs who are semi-mature or those ones who are mature. Maybe those little ones, those piglets, they may not do that, but those mature ones, you have to do that. Mostly on a daily basis. When you do that, when their temperature is okay, it ensures high productivity. When their temperature is okay, is cool, with that water that you have poured on them on a daily basis, it ensures high productivity, and they also look clean. Do not forget that in this house you have to pour them this water. That house must have a good watery system. That is, the house must have a good sloping system, so that all the water that you pour on the pig will drain off the house immediately, so that do not make the house to be dirty. In this way, it will ensure that the dirt in the body of the pig will go along with the water that you have just poured in the body, and that will make the pig to look very clean. Yes. You have to do this to all the pig in the house, exception of those piglets. Yes. And you must have to do this, if possible, on a daily basis. You do this especially if your house, that your piggery is not a standard one, because in some standard piggery, in some part of Africa, there are some standard piggery, or even in America, that everything is standardized. When it is time They will just go to that machine and the water will just come and flush all the pig, and they will look very clean and okay with the temperature. The other thing is, most time on a rainy day or during the cooling part of the season, you may not need to do this every day. Let's assume that in Africa there is too much sun during the middle hour of the day, so you need to do this during those hours. But in some part where there is very cool temperature, you may not do this on a daily basis, but you still need to do it in order to ensure the cleanliness of the pig. As you want their body to look nice and clean, not too much dirty and so forth. You need to do this at least once for some time. But in hot part of those who are living in the hot parts of the world, you may do this every day. Yes, it's very, very important to the pig. Then after this one, another thing that you have to do is in the evening, before the days run out, you have to go back to the food process. Yes, if you have money to be giving them all the necessary food that they need, that your food is well equipped with all the necessary minerals and vitamins, that would be very good. But if you don't have money to provide all those food, at least try and give them in a quantity, that is, give them that food in quantity. Don't just starve them. You will not have a good result. You have to give them food, at least make the quantity to be high a little. Yes. Why I'm saying this is that do not forget, the more they eat, especially good food, the more they grow. As if you choose a good breed, the more they eat, the more they grow. So if you give them food peelingly, you will also get a peelingly output. So now you want to give them food so that you have a good output. Most of the time, those pigs that you cultivate, you must have a target. Although we will talk about that one later, what do I mean by that target? Yes, we will talk about that much later. But you want to ensure that your food have enough feed for the day. Your pig have enough food for the day. Yes, that's why in the evening you have to come back, see if they have finished their food. You have to put another food before they go to sleep. You have to supply them with another food before they go to sleep. Those who are not able to finish their food, well, you may leave those one to continue with what you have put in the morning. But those who are finished, you have to give them another food. Do not forget, pig do eat very well. Pig eat plenty of food. So you have to make sure that your food supply is a little bit up. The food you give to your pig is a little bit plenty. That if you want a good output. Yes. Those are the few things you got to do on a daily basis. Although there are a lot of many other things, at least if you are starting a small farm of a manageable way, you got to do those few things on a daily basis in order to ensure a good output productivity. Yes. I break it down again. What you got to do on a daily basis in your piggery farm. Number one, when you wake up in the morning, go to your pigsty, clean the trowel, clean the place you put water, clean the house of the pig, pack away all the sluggy. That's number one. 2, serve them with food. 3, after serving them with food, you look around the pig. What is their problem? How they are faring? Are they eating very well? Who are those that are sick? What of those who are under medication? Are they responding or are they not responding? What should I do about them at this particular time? You have to do this during the time you serve them food. And lastly, before going to bed or your pig goes to sleep, you have to serve them with another food, especially those who have finished up their food. Yes, those are a few things. As I said, it's on standard farm, they did not need all that because everything is bake and call. Bake and call, yes. What I mean by bake and call, everything is standby. Their food will never finish, their water will never finish, everything will just be supplied by them continuously, that is constantly. That is a standard farming. But in some area where you cannot afford such a standard farming, do not forget to do these few things I just mentioned if you want to have a high productivity. Yes. Earlier I mentioned something about target when we call the rearing pigs. There's what we call target. Yes, let me talk about that now. What we call target is that those pigs that you raise, you have to divide them into different categories. You have to have those that will keep on remaining on your farm for the purpose of keep on reproducing, so that you have more piglet who will later become mature pigs. You have the sow. The sow is a female mature pig that will remain in the farm and keep producing piglet for you. Another type of pig that you keep is the boa, the sexually matured adult pig that will stay in the house in order to fertilize the soil to keep giving you more piglet. Then you also have what we call the gill. Those gills are those young ones that are just about to mature to become a sow. Then you also have the other ones that are mature, they are yet to mature, but they are young. So all these pigs that you have in their house, what I mean by target is that only those with the purpose of reproducing, both the female and the male, should remain on your farm. The rest of them that you are not intended to keep them for more reproduction, you have to make sure they leave your farm in 6 months. Do not forget the pig you are rearing is to mature in 5 months. At least if you don't sell them off in 5 months, you sell them off in 6 months. So in this way you have to feed them very well, so that by the time they reach 5 months or 6 months, you sell them off and make your money, instead for them to remain in your farm and keep eating your food when you are not intended to keep them for more reproduction. If you are not keeping them for more reproduction, that means you have to feed them fast so that they grow up fast and leave your farm between 5 to 6 months. You sell them off. That is number one way that Chinese are rearing their pig. That is especially the formula of rearing pigs in China. They usually sell off those ones that are not staying in the farm for more reproduction in just 5 months, make their money. Then those ones that will be reproducing, like the sow and the boa, will keep remaining in the farm. If you use this pattern of farming, you see that before you know it, you keep having much or small income as a start, and later much income. So there is no point to keep those ones in the farm while they are eating food. The more you give them food, the more they will grow. So if you have food, give them at once, they eat and leave your farm by 5 to 6 months. You sell them off, make your money. Those ones you want them to keep remaining in your farm so that they will keep reproducing, those ones can remain. But very important, whatsoever type of pig you are rearing, you must make sure that you do those few things I mentioned earlier in your farm every day. If you can do this every day, it's a vital step that you are taking in order to ensure a high productivity in your farm. We still have a lot to talk about when we talk about piggery farm. We have a lot more things to talk about. But meanwhile, let's just stop here for today. But the point we have just taken today are those 4 things or few things you got to do every day, that is on a daily basis in your farm. You don't just forget you have animals, go around other business and later you come back to them. No, you have to take them into consideration every day and do what is needful on a daily basis. In this way, you ensure to have a high productivity.